This is episode 15 of the best podcast in the freaking world, the Zoom Out Podcast. My name is Vaughn Johnson Baptiste. I am a senior college student in comms, and I just use this. I just use this as a podcast, audio diary. So thank you for stopping by. As I said at the end of last episode, I'm going to be having a great person here to talk and just kind of get her life story a little bit if we can. So today I have the amazing Mariah Schugg. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So, we just at the start, I'm going to just ask you, how's your week been? How was your week? It's Friday, so how was your week?
It has been a busy week. You know that my colleague Carla Barquero and I are both working on a podcast. So this was our first episode, and we posted it. And it's been a lot of work getting to this point. I'm also starting some projects with the department I chair, Gender, Women's, and Sexuality Studies, and a lot going on with them this week. So I'm wiped out. It's Friday.
Yeah, I understand. So. I might as well throw in, because I normally do it at the start of these podcasts. I'm also doing great. You know what I mean? It's the end of the week. I feel the exact same way she does. I'm ready for this to be over. So just to get started, would you like to, can you explain to the audience, just who you are, your journey and things like that? How did you get to Widener University?
It was a long journey. Let's see. I'll try to make it an abbreviated version for you.
Okay.
So I got my bachelor's degree in anthropology at the University of Minnesota. At that time, I was interested in primatology. So I was running around following non-human primates in the forest. Somewhere in there, I got interested in modern humans, ended up getting a PhD at the University of Utah in anthropology. And of course, somewhere during the dissertation process, my interests started to shift towards psychology. So I ended up working in a lab at one of the Max Planck Institutes in Germany for a couple of years with psychologists. And that was how I ended up as a postdoc at Wesleyan University, working with a number of, fantastic people in the psychology department. Eventually, I became a visiting professor there, and that led me to Widener, where I am faculty in psychology and gender, women's, and sexuality studies.
All right. That sounds like a good resume right there, I will be honest. So I have a question for you. So throughout all of that that you just mentioned, what type of challenges did you have to overcome in order to get to where you are today? I know obviously there's you just gave a long laundry list of what you've been doing. What are some challenges that kind of got you here?
I think one challenge for me is that I'm an interdisciplinary person. So meaning that my work is in psychology and anthropology and to a certain extent sociology and gender studies. And I love bringing together those different subject areas, but it's exhausting to have to comb through so many literatures. And I feel like there isn't always a place for the interdisciplinary person. I think, for example, it made my dissertation and my job search harder because I was not a clear fit for most anthropology or psychology departments.
And when you said that you went from anthropology with animals, right?
Yeah, no, not human primates.
and then now psychology. What, as you were growing up, what even brought you to that? Because that's just an interesting thing. So I'm trying to figure out how did you start? What made you go into that field?
Right. So initially when I started college, I had this idea that I was going to be a science writer and a photographer. I had a big interest in photography back in high school. So I was, and so I was majoring in journalism and minoring in fine arts and biology, trying to like bring it all together. And somewhere in this biology work, I read an article about someone doing research with orangutans in Borneo. And I was so gripped by it, I felt it made me realize that I wasn't going to be satisfied just writing about the research, but I wanted to actually do it.
Right.
I think when I was younger, I didn't really understand that you could do this kind of work, that sort of research could be accessible to me. It was hard, but realizing that then really shifted gears for me.
Okay. That's great. And how long were you doing photography? Because that I'm interested, you know, because I'm currently doing that type of stuff. So how, like, what? Okay, so this is a 2-part question. Well, one, is that like a path that you still are kind of dabbling in, and also, what made you just like want to stop doing that one specifically?
Okay, well, my interest started in high school because I was lucky enough to be at a high school that had photography classes. So, you know, I took them all and then started doing this independent study thing. It was different, you know, it was before digital photography. So I was in a dark room.
Yes, okay.
And what made me love it, I don't know what makes anyone love anything, right? It felt like a way to express my artistic side. I used to draw and paint when I was younger, and not so much now. So photography did replace that in high school. I do still enjoy taking photographs, but I don't do it on the same level. I'm grateful that I have a sense of composition. But I think that's been the take home from that practice way back when. And the decision to shift gears for me has always been question based. I have some sort of observation out in the world. I develop a hypothesis about it just as part of, you know, walking around through the world, trying to understand things.
Exactly.
And sooner or later, I really want to take it apart. And that's why my research has shifted over the years. How I'm observing the world has shifted. What there is to observe has shifted.
So I'd say that would, I'd say you might be still doing what you're doing, the photography, because now granted, obviously I'm just kind of grasping at straws here, but when it comes down to painting a picture of what exactly this person, like what this person is doing, or what the anthropology, what the animals were doing, like that type of stuff, you're still in that creative headspace. You just moved it on to something else. And I think that's great that you were still somehow in some small way able to kind of still blend that creativity into where you are right now.
I really like that take on it. And I also, it's funny, like I said, when I was younger, I was into drawing and painting. In high school, I got into photography. I now, for many years, have been into writing. And I do that as part of my scientific work. And I'm writing peer-reviewed papers, but those are not really of popular interest. Those speak to other researchers, and there are only so many of us. So I have started trying to get that research to popular audiences now. With, say, I have a blog for Psychology Today, and I do laugh a little bit about coming full circle now, because I started out wanting to be this science journalist, and at the end of the day, maybe that is what I am.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, at least from my understanding, when it comes to stuff that you love doing, you don't ever stop doing it. You just end up going into a different path that slightly has to do with it. Like, even if it like dipped its toe into that other thing that you used to love, you still are being that creative person that you were. You're still, writing is the same thing in my eyes as painting a picture, because you're quite literally trying to help a person go through whatever it is that you're trying to tell them, and that's basically what a photographer does for a living. So thank you so much for that. That was great. Now, with all of the stuff that you have done, what are 3 things that you have accomplished in your life so far?
I would say the PhD was brutal, and I had a lot of advantages that other people didn't have, and it was still brutal. So, yeah, anybody who's thinking about getting a PhD, brace yourself. I always say you have to really want it.
Yes.
You don't get through, but with a casual interest. Let's see. I recently got my NSF grant.
Congratulations.
That was a major project. 5 years put into that one. And actually, building this popular writing has really meant a lot to me. I've had a couple of big successes recently. Getting the Psychology Today blog meant a lot to me.
Okay.
I recently published in The Advocate and now have a contract with Scientific American. I'm really delighted. I've put a lot. It's taken years to get to that point.
I can tell how much work you put in if those are the 3 things. Now, on the flip side, what are some things that you want to accomplish in the future?
Well, we have this new podcast. I'm trying to put content before reach, meaning I care more about the quality of the content than I do with how many people listen to it.
I agree.
But I also care a lot about the content, and I wouldn't put it out there if I didn't think it wasn't something of value. So, yeah, I hope people do listen. And I don't know that I'm really amping up the reach right now, but I will try at some point.
Yeah, I agree, because I'm just, obviously I'm a startup too. Like, I'm just now starting, and it's not like a giant amount of people that are listening. There could be one person listening right now for all I care. As long as I'm getting the content out, that's all that matters to me. And that's why I fully understand your sentiment when you say that. And aside from that, is there like one other thing that you got in the works, or?
So I got this NSF grant, and now I have to collect the data.
Okay.
I mean, you don't get the grant for a small project. So I am now on the cusp of a big project, and there are some unexpected challenges, some federal concerns about accessing the grant funds, for example. So basically my spring is working on the podcast and preparing to be in the Faroe Islands this summer, which is where I do my research. It's a lot. I'm feeling it.
Yeah, you are a very hard working woman. I can say that 100%. Actually, I feel like I should bring up last episode's topic. So last episode I had talked about, and the only reason I'm bringing this up is because you said that you dabble in psychology, right? And you also just gave us a story of understanding that it's content over reach, and making sure that you realize that as long as you get the content out, somebody will listen in the future. So last episode I was talking about finding the good enough in your life, and I was basically getting at just understanding that sometimes good enough is where you need to be in order to make progress. So like what would be your take on that? Like, when it comes to people trying to be perfectionists and maybe like the psychology around that, like what is your mindset when it comes to like trying to find the good enough in life?
Well, there's the expression, I don't know if you've heard of it. Perfection is the enemy of good. I kind of like to think perfection is the enemy of done.
Yes. Okay.
There's always something, and I have been putting my popular writing out there for a couple of years now, and I've learned that a few months later, I don't always love it. If I were to rewrite it today, it would look a little different. And I have to let that go. Thinking about that will end with me never putting anything else out there again. And to what extent is what I've put out there impactful? I can't really say, but I think your perspective that it might just reach one person is valuable. So whatever I put out there, it was where I was at the time. It was the best I had to offer at the time. It's there. I hope maybe it had some sort of positive impact on somebody. And then I have to walk away. And I have to put new work out there, knowing I might feel that way again in 6 months about whatever it is I'm putting out there.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest with you, I actually feel like after 6 months, you should have that mindset, because that's because you have gotten a new level of experience. You've gotten through a little bit more of life, and you understand, oh, this is what I might have needed to fix. This is what I might have needed to fix. And that just kind of comes with trying to get to that finish line. It makes sense to, like, there's always that time where you're going to want to, like, oh my God, it's not perfect. I want it to be like this, and it's not like this. And then there's moments where you start spiraling out of control because of that. But it is always a great thing. And I've always said, like, taking 5 minutes to just breathe for a little bit and then try to figure out what the problem is and see how much you can get done. And once you get that much done, stop or see how much you can get a little bit more done. It's just like maybe taking your time with things and realizing that at a certain point you'll get the stuff done if you just stop being so perfectionistic about it. Because perfection is definitely something that is going to hinder you for a long period of time.
Yeah, I really agree. I think that's a good perspective. If you dwell on perfectionism, it's very hard to produce anything.
Yeah, I agree 100%. So when it comes to like if you had to give it some advice to your younger self, what exactly would you say to your younger self, a young Mariah Schugg?
I think I had a lot of anxiety when I was younger about whether I would end up here. I very much wanted to be a professor for a long time. I mean, from the time I was probably 18, 19, I knew this is what I wanted. And it was a difficult to achieve goal. I didn't make it easier on myself by deciding to jump around between disciplines. And I think I had a great deal of anxiety that I was going to sort of fail in completing this path. And I think I would tell myself to trust the process a little bit more.
Okay.
That the effort was not just going to pay off, but the effort itself made me better at what I do. That there were real benefits to that level of struggle. Okay.
That's a great answer. Because trusting the process is always a good idea. You should always just understand that at a certain point, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what the next hour is going to be in your life. So let alone the next day, month, week, whatever. So trusting the process is always a great idea to, once again, make progress. Because without that, you're just going to be stagnant. Yeah. Did you have a note to say or? Okay. So what would you say that this past year actually taught you?
I think I'm still figuring that out. Are you okay with me talking about politics?
Go right ahead.
Okay. So I'm also a very politically engaged person. I was very invested in this election. So this was the election of Trump to a second term.
Yes.
I was pulling for Harris and
of course, yeah.
working for Harris. And for a lot of us, I think this felt like something of a test of humanity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does it mean that this person won again?
Yes.
This person who we know is willing to do harm on a lot of vulnerable people.
Absolutely.
And I have a great deal of faith in humanity. I really see the good in people. And so trying to understand why so many people made this choice is very hard for me. And I'm working on it. And what I've been thinking about is the fact that the people who voted for him have had very different life experiences than me.
Absolutely.
And are existing in a different context than I do. Are really receiving different information, like really live in a different world.
Absolutely.
And I need to reflect on that so that I can continue to think that humans are the people that I want them to be. So do those people actually wish harm on so many vulnerable others? I don't think so. I think the world that they exist in is focusing on something else entirely.
Mm-hmm.
And I just keep trying to get back to that perspective when I feel angry or resentful or hopeless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will 100% say that even for me, seeing the outcome of that election and realizing how this next couple of years is about to be, it definitely is. It's something that will definitely make you go, huh? You know what I mean? Like, it's definitely something that makes you wonder what it is that, well, first of all, what it is that they are seeing that we're not. And then on top of that, trying to figure out, like, why is this the direction that we're going in? Because, and this podcast is just about whatever. So this topic is perfectly fine. But when it comes to what happened just recently, I'm not too like into I'm not exactly like fully versed of the whole discussion, but an airplane had crashed into a Black Hawk helicopter, and I don't know, you can definitely give some insight into this, but from my understanding, that happened, and then for some odd reason, his response to it was, it's because of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. I apologize. And then also saying that when people are trying to ask him for the evidence of that being the reason, his response is, I have common sense. Now, I'm not going to sit here and dictate if you have common sense or not. But given what I'm seeing right now from that being your response to this happening and 67 people dying and like it being a genuine travesty that this happened, and your response is that, is the wildest thing to me.
I could talk about this all day.
Go right ahead.
I think one of the first things to bear in mind, which is not heartening, is that people are going to forget about this in a couple of days, because there are going to be 10 more things that he does, and the he here being Trump, that he does that are just as vile and offensive. What makes him say something like that? I mean, I think it's pretty transparently because that's what his followers want to hear.
Absolutely.
But beyond that, I really have to point out this bizarre fixation on DEI.
It's so bizarre.
As if it meant that unqualified people were ending up in jobs, because Trump has nominated for his cabinet a slew of shockingly unqualified people.
Shockingly and unqualified aren't even the words. Those are not even the words for it. But yeah, keep continue.
Right. So, I mean, I really feel like what we're seeing right now is this assumption that white people, especially white men, are qualified for high-level positions, and everyone else got their job because we're trying to pursue Marxist equity, I believe is the term.
I guess so.
They used. So I find this so grossly offensive. And I also think this is going to undermine like national level productivity because these people that he's being critical of got their jobs because they're qualified and they're good at their jobs. And now his aversion to DEI is going to block qualified people from getting into jobs. And apparently we're going to end up with totally unqualified people in some of the highest level positions in the country.
We have Elon Musk.
Elon Musk.
We have Elon Musk of all people. I'm sorry.
Terrifying, man.
And I hate the fact that I'm about to say this, but to his credit, he's a genius when it comes to space and Tesla.
We think so. I mean, he might be good at getting other people to do that work.
Obviously. Well, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But my overall point with it is like we have someone, Elon Musk, and once again, I am not the most well-versed person in politics. I am 21. I'm not like super into it, mainly also because this past year for me has mind-boggling, but specifically when it comes to this. But Elon Musk, we have a person whose, to me, only track record is buying Twitter and then having a company that makes cars.
Right. And
and then we have him
inherited a bunch of money to do those things.
Exactly. And then we have him being in whatever power that he's about to be in, on top of the fact that Trump is his best friend. So it's just like it's such a wild concept to me that we have that these are the two people that are about to be like, out of many that are in that position of power.
I really am struggling with it. For example, so where I do my research, the Faroe Islands, they are an independent nation that has political ties to Denmark. And now Trump has a problem with Denmark because they're not selling him Greenland. And in a couple months, I have to go recruit participants in a country that's, feeling the impact of these nonsensical pursuits and statements.
Yeah.
He's talking about tariffs and war. How am I supposed to ask the people of the Faroe Islands to trust me and take part in my research when they know the person representing my country and might very well think that I support him?
Absolutely. That's a given. Because, I mean, now granted, anyone from the outside looking at us is sitting here like, really, this is where y'all went. That's crazy. Which means his impact for the first 4 years is way larger than the United States. If they on the other side of the world is sitting here saying, wow, that's the choice y'all went with. Crazy.
It's embarrassing.
It's super embarrassing.
Yeah. When I've traveled overseas and we have an administration I'm not comfortable with, I often just want to like wear a pin on my jacket. I didn't vote for Trump.
At this point, you might have to.
Everybody know that from the outset.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing. And then I'm gonna be honest, like it's like this the different things that he has said, the different things that he has done that make me wonder, like, genuinely, like I said, what they're seeing. Because we have a person who, first of all, because you brought up tariffs, I'm going to briefly touch on that. like people are sitting here and saying, "Oh, I voted for him because they're going to make it so that I have more money in my pocket and these things go down and eggs aren't." I don't know what their fixation on eggs are, but they have such a fixation on eggs and trying to say like, "Oh my God, it's going to be so much cheaper when he gets in office." First of all, the tariffs. Correct me if I'm wrong. We're paying for that.
Yeah, we should expect our prices to go up.
Wait, them eggs are going to be $20 by the end of this. It's not, I don't know. And then just the other stuff that he has been spewing. They're eating the dogs and stuff. Like,
right. So that's immigrants somewhere in the Midwest. He accused of eating people's pets. Was that Haitians? Yeah. Bad look.
Bad look.
He still got elected.
And I'll be honest, for me, I was sitting in my room, like watching the results. And I mean, we both know it, so I might as well just say it. I'm a black student going to a PWI. So me sitting here and watching the amount of people who really decided to vote for him, and the fact that a couple days prior to that, I went home so I could vote for Kamala.
Right.
And I then sat in my room, and I don't know why, because around that time, of course, politics was everywhere because it's the election year, obviously. But I was trying so hard to stay away from politics, and then I got brought back in because of the year, and seeing everything from the start of him racing Biden, and then the 2 months literally that Kamala had, and then on top of it, just seeing the back and forth, the amount of stuff that he would say and stuff like that. And then on that day, sitting there and having to watch that number go up, and people just saying it's just a red mirage. It's just a red mirage, and then the mirage never ended.
Yeah, it's been really painful. There were so many shifts in mood,
absolutely,
over the course of that election, and there were times when I was very genuinely hopeful that Harris would win.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah. The level of shock can only be compared to that first time Trump was elected.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that was astounding. I mean, I will never forget that night.
Yeah.
Or what the day after felt like. But with this one, it was an informed decision.
Exactly. That's the most mind-boggling thing to me. Y'all had 4 years. Y'all didn't have 4 years. Y'all had 8 years to realize, yeah, let's not bring this guy back.
He incited an insurrection. Like, that's really...
That's textbook. Why would you bring him back?
He's literally undermining our democracy. Who votes for that?
You clearly vote for a person who couldn't even to this day say that he lost that election, because, and he's first of all, he's about to pardon the people that even was doing the insurrection.
Yes, he was too troubled to sort through who was violent and who was not in the insurrection. He couldn't be bothered. Yeah. So he just pardoned them all.
Yeah, y'all can all come back. It's fine.
Exactly. I can't put in another week's worth of effort on this.
No.
Just release them all.
I know I'm the president and all, but like, no, I'm not doing that.
So yeah, I mean, this is what I'm trying to cope with, Vaughn, is how to make sense of my belief that the human is fundamentally good, and absolutely. I do still believe that, and the fact that he got the popular vote this time. He did. And the only way I can make it work is to say these people are not looking at it the way we're looking at it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to say that there aren't hateful people out there. There are people
100% are.
Who voted because they're racist and because they don't like trans people.
Yeah.
So they probably don't know any trans people
Most
that they're
not.
aware of. So there are people who made that decision, who made their choice out of hate.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they are really the minority. And I think a lot of the other people have been manipulated.
Absolutely.
And scared into thinking that they're not going to be able to pay their bills and take care of their families if a Democrat is in office.
And the craziest thing about that is you're not about to be able to do that now that a Republican is in the office.
And not for the first time. We've again and again seen the economy struggle with Republican administrations and boom under Democratic administrations.
Mm-hmm.
So this is not an evidence-based decision.
Absolutely.
It's a fear, media, hype-based decision.
Media hype-based decision is the way to call it, because I'm not the media. I don't even know. It's a lot, because looking at it, because you said media, so I'm gonna just go into specifically like
Go for it.
What I am watching, like what I was able to see, and I'll get onto the TikTok thing in a second, but going and like watching all of these different videos, and I was on TikTok, so I'm watching 1,000 think pieces every single day. Watching no, actually, this is what I'll speak on. Because I was getting fully into this the politics again. I ended up coming across many different people who would just be going live on TikTok and having discussions and like, why did you vote? Why are you going to vote for Trump and this, that, and the third? And then just hearing like thousands of people get on these lives and explain certain things, get completely shot down immediately. And they're like, nuh-uh.
Right. That they're not concerned with truth.
Not at all.
Or they refuse to process what is plainly the truth.
Plainly. And it's a thing that is seriously confusing to me, because you literally have all of the information you need on a phone, on a computer, on whatever. Google is free, literally. And you decide instead, I'm going to be willfully ignorant. I'm going to listen to the things that he is saying of all people, and then proceed to make that true. Like to think that is the truth instead. That Haitians are eating cats and dogs. That if he's in office, these prices are going to go back down because of these tariffs and stuff that he's going to put on China that we're going to have to pay for. And then 1,000 other things that he has said. You see all of that and you do not care. There's something in your brain that is not clicking.
I mean, I do. I think to say there's something in your brain that is not clicking is exactly right. So as somebody who works in psychology, like I can talk to you about all these different cognitive biases that you have that contribute to this type of thinking. But for example, we have something called a confirmation bias.
Yes.
So that once you have an existing belief, you tend to process information in a way that just reinforces that belief. Mm-hmm. So if something contradicts it, you dismiss it somehow. You think it's the exception or not that important. And if something confirms it, you integrate it into your existing belief system. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's often happening here is they're just not deeply attending to, deeply processing the information that is not consistent with what they have chosen to believe. Mm-hmm. And then their ego gets all wrapped up in it. I mean, our egos are all wrapped up in our beliefs, right? So that it becomes so hard to say, I was wrong.
Yeah, and that must be the thing that they are struggling with the most. But yeah, you can keep it.
I mean, so that you need an enormous amount of evidence and information to maybe be willing to openly say that I was wrong. Mm-hmm. And even then, I think most people will spend their whole lives contorting themselves trying to avoid that. I so respect somebody who can openly and publicly and sincerely admit to being wrong.
Yeah. That's because quite literally, that's the thing. Actually, with there's been something that I've said, and I think this is be something I probably took from my mom was the phrase "I would love to be wrong," and if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Yeah,
because being like, if I am incorrect, I want to know what I'm wrong about. So the concept that they are going to hear the stuff that he is saying and see the stuff that he's doing and just not like completely, you're looking at it with shades on or something. I don't know what you're looking like. You don't like that. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Right. Well, I mean, what you're describing for yourself is this growth mindset where you look at being wrong as an opportunity for learning.
Exactly.
And if that's your starting point, then it's so much easier to avoid this confirmation bias. And then that means you can see the world through a more accurate lens.
Yeah. And I did say I'm going to go get into it because the TikTok is the whole situation with TikTok boggles my mind.
So you mean the fact that it's now illegal? I don't use TikTok, so I don't know. Are you still able to use it?
So yes. If you were using it already, you can obviously continue to use it. It was like shut down for like 12 hours on January 19th into the 20th. But the thing about it is, if you did delete it or if you never used it, you can't go back and download it. It's completely gone from the App Store. From my understanding, Trump has been at the front lines when it comes to wanting TikTok gone.
Right.
He has wanted to, because he said, it's Chinese, this, that, and the third, obviously going on his regular spiels, and saying that is so dangerous. And then we get to right now, and it ends up getting confirmed that it's going to get banned, so to speak. And now he wants to be at the front lines of, no, we're gonna see how we keep it. We might be able to keep it, extend it for another 90 days, this, that, and the third. And then when you go back, because actually no, right before the ban or when the ban happened, a message would pop up that said, we're shutting down the services, and thanks to Trump's efforts, we're doing this, that, and the third. And then it also said that when it came back on, it said, the system is back and running. Thank you to Trump's effort. That's what threw me off. Right.
I mean, okay, I have no idea what that's about. Mm-hmm. Do you?
I think they're trying to figure out what to do, because obviously there's still not because the overall thought is that TikTok was stealing our data and doing this, that, and the third, data security. Right. And granted, every app does that.
Right. It's an important point.
It's quite literally every app that does that. Google does that. YouTube does that. Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever. All of these applications quite literally ask you for your data.
Yes.
And it's being sold. Yes. We already knew that.
That is why the apps exist.
That's literally as whenever you sign up for an app, you literally have to accept, we're going to use your data. And then for some odd reason, people like he sees that, or the people in the government see that, and they're like, no, it's because they're Chinese.
Right. And that is, I mean, that's where they somehow bring race and ethnicity into this.
The thing, they are so gung ho in trying to say that we bring it up all the time, yet they are the main ones that bring it up. We don't even talk about it like that, to my understanding. Like, yes, it's around. Obviously, LGBTQ is around. Obviously, Mexicans, Black, every single race, obviously they're around and they talk about their experiences, or they protest for this, that, and the third. But on the regular, this well, first of all, that wouldn't be the case if y'all just, I don't know, be decent human beings. But this is just, we don't talk about it as much as they do.
So you're saying that it's in fact the Republicans who keep bringing us back to identity politics.
I think so.
And I totally agree. And so they're arguing that we keep putting DEI front and center. And in fact, they're putting DEI front and center.
Front and center.
And they know they do it because they know it stokes people's fears about, am I going to have a job in the future? And could I be cheated? Could somebody skip me in line somehow?
Yeah. And back to the TikTok thing, because I know I kind of veered off a little bit. But when it comes to that, and the things that confuse me is the app, them, oh, I don't know, how do I want to put this? They are keeping the app in order, like, I feel like the app at this point just like completely sided with him at this point. And the concept to me, and this might just because like I was already in the mindset of I need to get off TikTok because it was like taking so much of my time. But seeing the message that he is giving him credit right now,
right? That is shocking.
Messed with me so much, because and the thing is, I know as a fact that people are went right back to using the app right after it went. Yeah, I'm fully aware. And those people, I have a feeling that when it was about to get shut down, they were like, no, like the administration is terrible. They're doing this, they're doing that, this and that. But you saw that message and you either didn't even read it and hit okay, or you read that and hit okay.
Right. I mean, a lot of people are dependent on this. I mean, a lot of people earn their living from TikTok. So they have my sympathies. But I mean, I think another concern that comes out of this for me is we have Twitter or X run by Musk. We have Facebook and Instagram that are run by Zuckerberg, who's caved to Trump before he even came into office.
Exactly.
And then we've got now TikTok that apparently is aligned with him. So this is a huge impact on media and the information people have to access.
To be honest, their whole campaign was just, we're going to post these random things and this will be the way that we win. So
it worked.
I don't know. It was just the weirdest thing, but wow, we kind of went really into that topic. I mean, I should have obviously known that was going to happen because that is your field of work. So I'm glad that we actually had that conversation.
Anything you try to talk to me about is going to turn into politics.
That's
right
fine.
Now.
That's perfectly fine. And I mean, all of that did answer the question of what did this past year teach us, I guess. So, right. I mean, it worked.
Plenty to learn.
Yes, indeed. So I have just a couple more questions for you. This might actually come right back to it. What message do you think the world needs to hear right now? Like what's something that you've been thinking, sprawling in your mind that you feel like someone out there in the world needs to hear that right now?
I'm not saying I'm achieving this. This is aspirational for me also, but really try to see the human in everyone, even the people you don't agree with. Mm-hmm. If we stop talking to each other, if we decide we hate someone before we've exchanged words, then things are just going to get worse. So still keep trying to build connections, even with people whose beliefs you find hurtful, with an important exception. Mm-hmm. If your identity makes you vulnerable to them, that is not an obligation.
Absolutely.
So don't feel like you're a bad person if you just choose to walk away. Mm-hmm. But if you want to try to do some healing, give them a chance if you can.
Okay. Yeah, that is a great piece of advice. And I will try my best to do that, actually.
As you see fit.
Yeah, because it's very hard nowadays, obviously, but these are things that we are going to have to progress through instead of trying to just, I don't know, just we got to push through when it comes to this type of stuff, especially when it's like, it goes again, like the other people's choices are about to cause a lot of damage, so to speak.
Yes, we know that, and it is very troubling.
Yeah, but
you can't stop fighting. You can try to have a conversation. You can try to see the humanity, but that doesn't mean you're rolling over and letting them do what they're trying to do.
Absolutely, and that is the main takeaway from that whole conversation that we just had. Well, I don't know how much more time you have. But I'm going to say that we had a great conversation. I really do appreciate you for stopping by and just having the discussion about that, and also just kind of getting a little bit of information about yourself and stuff like that. You can go ahead and plug one more time.
All right, our podcast is The Handbasket: Gender and Sexuality in the Trump Era, and it's myself, Mariah Schugg, and my colleague Carla Barquero, with a guest every episode.
All right, and I hope anyone who is listening decides to go over there if you are very much interested in the whole, like the world of politics and literally anything that we just talked about. If you are very interested in all of that, go over there. That's going to be probably the main hub for you when it comes to that type of stuff.
We would love to have you.
All right. And if I'm looking at the time correctly, we have been talking for a solid 54 minutes. So
thanks for this, Vaughn.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for stopping by. It is very much needed that we have these types of conversations. And it's very much needed for us to find the humanity in people. So it was great to be able to sit here and find the humanity in you.
Thank you. It's been a delight to get to know you better. Thank you for finding the time.
Of course. All right. So thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Once again, my name is Vaughn Johnson Baptiste. This has been the Zoom Out podcast. I have no idea what next episode is going to be like, but I hope to see you there. Yeah, that's about it. You guys have a great one, and peace.